Yo, what's up, LA Sparks fans? Michael Matthew here in the building tonight, Crypto.com Arena for the rematch. We have the Los Angeles Sparks against the Connecticut Sun in a game that they were so close to winning, but let it fall all apart late. The Sparks are back tonight to try to get things popping and try to get this upset win, which we thought they were going to be able to steal Sunday. I'm here with DJ Treacy Trees. DJ, what can look different tonight for the Sparks to make this win happen?
I think everything can look different. Michael, we always talk about on this game, anybody can win in a WNBA game no matter the consequence, circumstance. It looked like we had 3 solid quarters of basketball, so now we know the tweaks that we need to make, right? It sounds like the team is really energized and that coaching has done some adjustments, and I'm feeling good about it.
But that's the question. How do you get a full game from this team? They can play 3 quarters right. They may play a bad third quarter, a bad second quarter, and come back to bite them. Last game was a terrible fourth quarter. How do they get a full 4-quarter game out of this team?
I think they're going to have to play faster. They already know that Connecticut is playing a slower pace, so we got some youth on our side, right? We talk about these rookies and these people who are in development. Put them out there, allow them to get some burn and make some good defensive stops, and I think we can outlast the Connecticut Sun tonight.
Hey, tonight we got to see if Rakia can do it back-to-back. She talked about last game how her and Dewana Bonner has such a great bond, a player that she's looked up to. They were talking a lot of smack. I'm looking for a lot of smack talk from her tonight. What can we expect from the great Rakia Jackson?
I'm feeling good about Rakia. She got a little gold chain, a little diamond chain on today, y'all. It's looking good. She always says that when she looks good, she plays good. So it feels like just from watching the shoot around that she's got the vibes, the energy is high, and they shook off that loss and can refocus and really play some good basketball tonight.
And it's going to be key because we know this Connecticut Sun is trying to continue to pick up wins to help them with seeding, and it's going to be hard fought. But don't just listen to us. We got our guy, Coach Kurt Miller, there with the pregame presser.
Hey, Coach DJ from Infanity TV. Big game tonight, and we talked about a lot of things in the first go-round. Tonight, just if you could pick one metric, what would be that could improve? What would that be our level of successfulness for tonight?
Well, one, it's like asking a long talker about one thing, but you know, if I had to say one thing, definitely our turnovers have been a factor in this series. If you look at the other 11 teams that have played Connecticut this year, we're averaging the most turnovers a game against Connecticut. We're averaging over 20 turnovers a game. We know that approximately 40% of their scoring comes either off offensive rebounds or generating points off of opponents' turnovers. So those 2 things continue to be top of mind, but if you made me narrow down, us executing offensively is our first and most important line of defense. That's no live ball turnovers, that's shot quality, you know, those kind of things could really help our defense. That was not bad the other night, but again, when you turn it over 20 times against Connecticut, it's hard to take away something that's so important on a game plan to take away from them.
Hey, Coach Jackie Ray TV. So Rakia's growth spurt has been phenomenal. Are you surprised about how fast and how quickly she's growing, and what do you attribute her quickness and getting acclimated to the league to?
Again, I've shared numerous times that I want to echo that. The growth from May basketball for Rakia to September basketball in season in a tough cadence of games, the shortest training camp in the history of the league, is so, you know, encouraging on where her ceiling and stardom can be for us in this league. Really, really impressed with how much she's improved in season. You attribute it to, first you start with her willingness to get in the gym and work, her willingness to invest time with the assistant coaches with film, her willingness to work on her game. She deserves a ton of that credit. I also want to shout out the assistant coaches that are spending time with her on skill development, on film prep. You know, it all plays a part of it. So just really, really proud of Rakia. You know, we know who we are, we know what our record is, and Obviously, she's getting the media attention that she deserves, but it would be even larger if we were a playoff team because her ceiling, she's just scratching the surface. As much as she's improved defensively, she's still got, growth. As much of her offensive skill set at multiple levels she's showing you, she can be even better. So I'm just really excited about her future. We're very fortunate to have her as a building block for us.
Coach, you're in a rare situation here where the team has a handful of games left, but obviously the playoffs are no longer a possibility. How does that change your approach, or how are you approaching these set of games, knowing the ultimate goal is not possible, but there's still work to be done with the amount of rookies and veterans you have on the squad?
Yeah, I appreciate the team buying into what I'm talking about this week is our playoff week. We have the unique opportunity to play Connecticut on back-to-back games, not back-to-back days, but back-to-back games. And then when we start tomorrow with Seattle, we play Seattle back-to-back games. So for us, this is an incredible opportunity for us to experience what playoff basketball will be like not being in the playoffs. So we're approaching it that way. We're talking a lot about adjustments from game 1 to game 2. So Sunday was game 1, today is game 2. And we're going to approach it that way. We've made subtle adjustments. We have plans on how they defended us and things that we want to look for tonight offensively and obviously on the other side of the ball. We're going to do the same thing with Seattle. We're going to play them and prepare the best we can on a back-to-back. And then as we turn the page towards the weekend game against Seattle, that's game 2. So this is our playoff week. I know that sounds silly to you guys, but that's how we're approaching it. I love the buy-in. We don't get to experience the playoffs this year, but this, to us, is our playoff week.
Any other questions?
So obviously Dearica got off to a tremendous start to the season. It's been a little bit less excellent since the Olympic break. Is that just, you attribute that to the fatigue of, what she had to do in Paris and then everything that's going on in her life right now, or anything else?
Yeah, I don't think there's one factor, right? Dearica's carried us. While her numbers have, crept lower, when you look at why she flat out deserves the most improved player in the league, her shooting percentages are up. Her points are up. Her rebounds are up. Every statistical category is up. And to me, most improved is not a one area improvement. The most improved player, in my opinion, should have a diversity of improvement. And she checks the box in every single area. So while she's come back a little bit after playing in the Olympics, and coming back and carrying the load and being our go-to player, obviously the attention is really focused on Dee as our go-to player and Rikia, and so Dearica gets that a lot of the attention. The other thing is nice is you're seeing the growth of other people. A lot of what was asked of her early in the year was without Azare. She missed 20 games. She missed half the season. So, she didn't have a partner in crime or a veteran post player with her. You're also seeing the development and the rise of Lee's game. So everything contributes to that. But I don't want it to diminish just because her numbers have come back a little bit in certain areas. Dearica Hamby on a 12th place team, I don't care what place we're in, should be, and statistically says it should be. She should be the most improved player in the league this year.
Anyone else?
And someone post that.
Yeah,
Thanks, Coach.
We are back, DJ. We just heard from Coach, and Coach is really like, hey, we need to execute to win these basketball games. How can they execute tonight?
You got to defensively do the things that he's saying. Not allow slippage, stay on the ball, play great on both ends of the floor. I like the fact that Coach talked about offense because that will save us at the end of the day. We played great defense up until the 20 turnover thing.
Yeah.
But if we had a better offensive game, the points could have racked up a little bit more and we could have overtaken them.
And I'm happy that Coach mentioned turnovers because when we were watching, we were counting just these bad turnovers where a lazy pass there, like fixing that tonight is going to be vital. And it all starts with your point guard, Odyssey Sims. What can we expect from Odyssey tonight?
Fast play. My favorite kind of play. That street ball. She's going to push the ball up the court. She's going to also get some steals defensively. I think she's going to do a lot more to lend a hand on that side. Same thing with Crystal Dangerfield, who also had herself a game and contributed to the Sparks with some great assists. So I think that tonight our point guards are going to distribute the ball well, make some smart passes, and then our shot IQ is going to be a lot better.
Yeah, and it's going to happen also. It needs to happen on the defensive end. Last game, he said, keep them under 75. They got just over it. They have to make it tough on, AT, who gave them a triple-double for the Sun. Stopping her is going to be vital for this win tonight. So before we go, and you guys get to check out all of the interviews and post-game stuff, we got to give you our players of the game. Who do you think is going to shine bright the loudest tonight for the Sparks?
I'm going to give it to Azarae. We didn't hear a lot from Z in the first one, but something tells me that championship mentality that she has, that experience that she has is going to kick in, and she's really going to step up to give us something tonight.
For me, I'm going to stick with Odyssey Sims. I think that she's going to say, hey, I need to come and get some buckets early, get the team going, push the tempo, do some things defensively to slow this team down, and she's going to give them a fighting chance to pick up this upset victory. DJ, it's going to be fun. I hope y'all ready. I'm ready. It's going to be great. LA Sparks Weekly. Hey, we can see you guys after the game.
What's going on, LA Sparks Weekly? You already know me as DJ Treese, and I am here with Crystal Dangerfield of the LA Sparks. Crystal, welcome to the show. It's your first time.
Thank you.
So our first question I want to ask you is, finding your way to LA, walk us through a little bit of your hardship journey and what it meant for you to really lock in with the Sparks this year.
I think it's really just making your mind up, just go make an impact wherever you show up, however it happens. They called and asked if I was interested, and I told them yeah, and then it's been a long 7-day thing, and then they asked me if I wanted to stay for the rest of the season. I said heck yeah, so
I love that.
A different words, but yeah.
Yeah. And, Coach Miller talks a whole lot about how much you are working with the team and, learning the plays and all that. How difficult was it when they gave you that call to come in and learn a new system?
There are a lot, but they all did a great job. My teammates, assistant coaches, while he was gone during the Olympic break, they all did a great job of talking me through it, where I need to be, and then me learning their spots where they like to be on the floor.
Awesome. And last question. You had a hot game the first time we played Connecticut. How was it playing against players like DeWanna Bonner and Dejanay Carrington and all that, these players that play really aggressive and up-tempo? You really showed up. How do you keep doing that?
Well, first and foremost, I love playing against DeWanna. I don't even know if I've ever gotten the chance to tell her that, but I feel like she's a living legend. I love being out on the floor with her, love being around her in general. But just playing a good team like Connecticut, that's always going to get your juices flowing. You want to try to come out and get a win tonight.
Awesome. You heard it here first. LA Sparks Weekly, DJ Treese and Crystal Dangerfield. What's going on, LA Sparks Weekly? It's DJ Treese, and I am here with Kia Nurse. Kia, it's been a minute since we talked. I think it was a little bit after the Olympic break, and a lot in basketball has changed. So far in the season, how are you feeling about where you are in your contribution on the team here?
You know what, I'm coming along, and I think for me personally, it's been a continued journey of, feeling more like myself and being able to come into the season and do whatever the team needs me to do, be a pro's pro. So right now in my role coming off the bench, I think I'm doing a pretty good job of bringing the energy and keeping the leadership as strong as I can, and that's what I'm here for.
You talked about being a pro, and that's one of the things that Coach Miller loves about you. He talks about it all the time. So what is it like having to shift different roles? I know at the beginning of the season you played a different role, and now you're kind of just jumping in and rolling with the punches. What's been your favorite role so far this season with the Sparks?
Oh man, I don't mind any of my roles that I'm in, but I do love the leadership role. It's been a different challenge for me. I'm typically a person who kind of just leads by example. There's a lot of vocal people around me and they do all the talking. But it's for me this year, I've had to step up in the vocal side of it as well and be someone who kind of speaks up when things are tough or when we're in adversity or even when things are good. So I've really enjoyed that challenge. It's been something that I've had a great time with, and I have a great group of people to work with in this team to help get better and grow in that. So I think that's been my favorite role so far.
I love that. So be vocal and tell us what we're going to do tonight. What do you think is the key to the rematch tonight against the Connecticut Sun?
Well, I think it's, we had film sessions. We looked at a couple different things. That fourth quarter kind of did us in a little bit there and some tough turnovers. But I think this is a team that we have an opportunity here if we play well and we can keep the score kind of low because they play a slower game. They like to play in the half court. Get out and transition a little bit for us. And defensively, we have a couple little different execution keys that I can't give to you right now.
Of course.
But I think that'll be a good part of it. And also, just on a side note, as a TV person, that was a fantastic transition. That was really good.
Thank you so much. A compliment for a compliment. LA Sparks Weekly, you heard it here first. Make sure you stay tuned to the episode. DJ Treese and Kia Nurse. Sparks Weekly. It is halftime and the Sparks are down 32-43. We played some really solid basketball in the first quarter, but that second quarter we let way too much slip. Bree Jones, Marina Mabry, Dejanay Carrington are causing us a little bit of problems, but Ray Burrell just hit a three at the end to take us into halftime. Stay tuned for way more basketball on LA Sparks Weekly.
But you can also get your tickets right now at LASparks.com/tickets. Don't forget, tip is at 7 p.m. Don't miss out on the fun. Once again, we thank you for coming out. We wish you a safe drive home. And we'll see you right back here tomorrow night. And as usual, go Sparks! Hey, you had a great time. Make some noise here, y'all. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, man. Follow us at LA_Sparks.
Yo, what's up, guys? We are here, and it happened again.
Yep.
The Sparks come up short, 86-66, 20-point loss to the Connecticut Sun. It was tough. They started off looking solid, and then the rest of the way, it was all Connecticut Sun. But I guess you can have some positives, and we got some great sound bites from Coach you're going to get to later on. But I'm Michael Matthew. We're here with LA Sparks Weekly with the one and only DJ Treacy Treese. What happened?
So, like, exactly what you said. That first quarter, I'm like, all right, we competitive. Second quarter, all the worst-case scenarios happened. And then I thought for sure we was going to come out of halftime with a new attitude. Then it was like watching the second quarter all over again. But I will say that we picked it back up in the fourth quarter. So you got to give, a little credit when credit is due. We normally say they play 3 quarters and then, the fourth one they slide. Well, today they only played 2, and that's where the 20-point deficit was.
Yeah, and
that was it.
And it made it tough. Shout out to Crystal, who knocked down some shots there in the fourth quarter. Coach, you're going to hear him talk about it in the presser. Building. Yes, it's tough for fans and stuff out there. But he said it all along. Like, we knew what we were coming into this year. Then you deal with the injuries, the illness to Alexi Brown. And, you just have to adjust to that. So a game like tonight, they tried. Shout out to Rakia, who started off really fast once again. 13 points. She ends up with 16. She was at one point 6 for 6. I would like to see Rakia get more into her playmaker bag because she had 3 assists tonight. I think that she can do it. What was your thoughts on what we saw from Rakia Jackson tonight?
She actually said she was working on that with the coaches and learning how to distribute the ball more. That's the next piece of her game, so I'm excited to see what that looks like. But you know what I'm loving about Rakia? The fact that she is not afraid to face up any person defending her. She told us in the last game that she looked up to DeWanna Bonner and she took a big step back and took a 3 and hit it today right in her face. So that's the kind of player that we got. I'm excited for her to be a building block on bringing championship basketball back to LA. Yeah,
and she's going to continue to play hard. And one thing you can say with this team is that sometimes when shots aren't falling, they're playing with some positive energy. It's just sometimes things don't go right, especially when you're the team that's not as talented. Connecticut Sun are going to be there at the end. They're going to be a team fighting for a championship.
They were there last year at the end, y'all.
For them the Sparks to fight how they did the last game on Sunday and get so close into the fourth quarter, then to show some stuff in the first quarter, it's just a team that's a worst team in the league, going through some hard times, but you have to keep the hope because some of the young pieces are showing. Zaya Cook got
started
in the
cooking
game
today.
and did some things that was positive. She made some mistakes in the first half, but second half, making some shots, she did some solid things, so that was a good thing to see. What you think about seeing Zaya out there?
I was excited to see Zaya out there.
Yeah.
Zaya always brings the energy. She brings a new flavor to the offense.
Yes.
She has that craftiness is the word that I'll use, because it's not mostly like going with the plays. It's finding a way and hunting that shot that Coach talks about. So I'm always excited to see Zaya out there. Another person I was excited to see play was Azarae Stevens. Didn't I tell you I was feeling Z before the game? She went Dennis Rodman mode on the rebound. So
10 points, 17 rebounds. One of the career highs, probably for her. We got to check the stats. But she did her thing, was dominating the board. She talked about being aggressive, but don't just listen to us.
Yes.
Azarae was able to tell us after the game, her and Crystal Dangerfield and Coach Kurt Miller with the post-game presser.
As you guys know, we talked about with the team and with you guys that have been covering us that we were trying to treat this second game as kind of a playoff series with Connecticut. And I thought when we came out in the first quarter, I thought we did a lot of things that we wanted to accomplish. And, you know, I looked at the staff near the end of the first quarter and said, you know, we really look connected and playing good basketball, and felt like we made some good adjustments going into what we considered our game 2 of the playoffs. Unfortunately, that start of the second quarter, you know, an 8-0 run in the first 80 seconds, you know, with a missed coverage and turnovers and a couple things, you know, really put us on our heels. And, you know, those are the kind of stretches that have shaken our team right now when we're in this build and in this stretch. And I thought that really set the tone for a second quarter that got away from us, which then kind of had us go into halftime, you know, feeling not as good as we should because of how well we played the first quarter. I thought, you know, Marina had a really good game against us, but we just never could really make a run at them in the second half to make them feel us. But, you know, some positives through that. You know, Azarae had a monster defensive rebounding night. We were scrambling for records to see, you know, who in franchise history has ever had more than that. And I think maybe Candace is the only person that's ever had more defensive rebounds than Azarae, so big shout out. Talked about the three-pointers tonight, wanting to take more and hunt more threes. I thought for the most part we did that. I thought we even passed up some, and then Crystal got hot, so appreciate Crystal continuing to hunt for threes like we asked, and had, you know, what I consider her best performance as a spark with us this year. So, you know, some good moments in that game, but certainly not enough to come away with a win. So we look at that as our first playoff series, and we didn't get through it. Now we get to start this next one against Seattle. This is not easy with a third game in 4 days, and now a back-to-back ever. But we'll regroup and start to prepare for a talented Seattle team tomorrow for game 1 of what we look like in that, what we're considering our playoff series with Seattle.
Questions for players?
Hey, Azarae, just your aggressiveness tonight. You were able to put up 13 shots, hitting the 17 rebounds. Like, what did you see out there that made you come into this game like, I'm going to be very aggressive?
I mean, I like the matchup against Breezy. Like, obviously she's really talented, but I mean, I'm a quick, like, agile post. And so, I mean, I played against her for a few years now, and I like to exploit that. So I think the team did a good job of just giving me the ball, and we were moving and just trying to, like, just like they were doing mismatches against us, we had the same amount of mismatches. So, I mean, I just tried to be aggressive, and I think the team plays better when I'm aggressive, even if I'm not making everything, but just coming out being aggressive is something I'm trying to do.
Hey, Desiree, this one's for you as well. Obviously, it's late in the season. It's been kind of ups and downs, but there's been some positive. Are you guys feeling some physical and emotional fatigue right now? And how are you guys lifting each other up right now?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a tough season. Obviously, that's no secret. We're out of playoffs now. Like, there's a lot of negatives, but there's a lot we can be building towards, too. A lot of us are going to be returning next year, and even the ones that aren't, it's still an opportunity to grow as a player in this league and prepare yourself for whatever opportunity is next. So we've talked about that after a lot of these games, just like what are ways we can stay positive and continue to build for those of us that are coming back next year, and even the ones that aren't, what are ways that we can continue to pour positive energy into what we're trying to do and finish this year with pride. Like, who cares about the record at this point? Like, we want to walk off the court that last game feeling good about representing the Sparks in the best way possible.
I'm also sure. Hey, DJ from Infanity TV. Crystal, we had a chance to speak before the game, and you talked about finding your way to the Sparks through hardship. How does a moment like tonight feel to reinforce, all the hard work that you put in to get some of that payout back?
That's like a loaded question for me, but I mean, it feels nice. My teammates, I'm trying to pour into them, and they pour back into me. So whatever minutes I get out there on the court, I'm just gonna go as hard as I can. And tonight it just came to fruition as points.
And I'd just like to point out that she's a Husky, and Huskies are the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll get started with questions for Kurt. Who'd like to start? Hey, Coach DJ Infanity TV. So with the pieces being moved, we've talked a bunch, about hardship and different things that are happening. And you're treating this like the playoffs. And again, like the pieces are moving around and we're finding different matchups. How do you feel going into this matchup against Seattle coming from this part of the game?
Yeah, I haven't turned the page to Seattle yet. Still, I got this game on my mind, but obviously quick turnaround. We've played, I've been in a lot of playoff games. And, the turnaround from one series to another when you advance is not always short. And so these are the kind of things that you got to turn the page and be ready. So we're going to treat it well. It's not easy to play 3 games in 4 days in this league. It's certainly not easy to play back-to-back. But I think, I got a group that has always been a willing preparer. They're going to prepare, and we're gonna coach them like we are fighting for a #1 seed. We're going to continue to prepare hard, and it's a good test. They got dynamic players, a lot of Olympic type players, and so we look forward to the challenge that Seattle brings. I'm not sure if they were there. I heard they might be there in person tonight, so I'm not sure if they were in the stands or not, but. We'll get back to work tomorrow.
Coach, you talked about just preparing like it's a playoff series a few times, and you talked about your coverage against Marina last game. Did you change that at all, and why do you think she was able to have success today?
Yeah, we changed different coverages within the game, but we played the coverage that we had success getting the ball out of her hands tonight. I thought. She played with better tempo and just exploited some of our mistakes defensively. Again, she just gets an inch. She's such a good scorer. And then, as she got hot, it's hard to cool her down. Then she starts to make the contested shots. That's what makes the elite players in our league so special is a lot of players in our league make open shots. The elite players make contested shots, and you could tell she got into one of those flows tonight where she was really comfortable. And we guarded the arc okay. They were 3 for 13, or 2 for 13, I think, beside her. But her ability to, give them 3 points is so big because, again, they didn't have a great night at the arc outside of her. So disappointing at times, some of the lack of... some of the slippage we had in our coverages, but we tried to change it up and give her different looks throughout the game.
Hey, Coach, obviously you know what it means to build a team. Injuries played a huge part in this season, but of course, growing pains are a thing. But for you specifically, is there anything that keeps you up at night about anything that's happened thus far in the season?
Yeah, and I mentioned it probably a couple weeks ago that, again, I pride myself in unintended consequences. The amount of injuries and illnesses we've had in these first 2 years have been daunting. But, again, the unintended consequences, I've always, looked at the positives of opening the opportunities up for other players. Connecticut, it seemed like every year we had a major starter out for the season or out for a significant part of the season. And it opened the door, for other people. And Bree Jones is a perfect example. When JJ opted out of the bubble, it just continued to allow her more and more opportunities. And she just kept getting better and better. And by the time she was in her 4th and 5th year, she's now a perennial all-star and, one of the go-to players. So, what keeps me up a little bit at this, with this team is, I've always prided myself to, regardless of the injuries and illnesses in this league, is, can you overachieve? And can you help people that now are maybe getting a different opportunity or an even more enhanced role to take advantage of it? I just haven't always pushed the right buttons for this team to overachieve. I feel like we are good enough to play with teams for 3.5 quarters, but we've struggled to get to the finish line at times. So that's on, that's what I, lose sleep at times, because this locker room has great people in it. It's frustrated. There's, that's human with the losses that we have. But this locker room has great people in it. We have a lot of people that are committed to coming back. And I just want them to experience, some joy. I want them to experience a win again, because they haven't stopped working. They haven't stopped preparing. That's, I wish for them, to feel some joy before the end of the year.
Coach, you kind of just alluded to my next question. You guys haven't really been able to put together for all 4 quarters. So looking ahead to your next playoff series and even, next season, how are you trying to get your team to overachieve, like you said?
Yeah, I think, the big catchwords around the team recently are discipline, focus. Reagan just spoke to the players and talked about, finding joy. And some of the message was not letting, one mistake, slippage, snowball. And, that's our big growth area these last 5 games is that we can't let a couple mistakes, a couple bad plays, a couple poor decisions turn into, a quarter that gets away from us or a segment in the game that gets away from us. That's important for this team. We have fine line. There's thin line between, we have fine line between, winning and losing right now. And so we just got it to avoid some of these stretches where people have bigger runs on us than we'd like.
Coach, excuse me. Coach, as you said, the team has been decimated by injuries. With the challenges that this season has brought to you, A, how's your mental health, and B, what's bringing you joy?
I love living in the South Bay. I live in one of the greatest places in the world, and one of the reasons that, LA was such an attraction for me, despite coming off that, finals appearance again with Connecticut. I love people that I work with. I'm very fortunate. I've had 2 GMs in the first 15 months, but to have Reagan as my boss, and Reagan and I once worked together as assistant coaches, and someone that has been a coach and understands what coaches are going through, that brings me joy that I'm working with really good people. I'm telling you, what can't be seen is when I got here, there was issues, and there was things that were for lack of a better word, a little bit in disarray. And the roots that have started to form and the work behind the scenes and the work of our president, who's going to do terrific things for LA, to watch, Reagan's first year as a GM. Like, I think about back at my first year as a GM, I had no idea. So to see what she's doing already and how she communicates with the team, how she communicates with agents, is just really encouraging to me that she's going to be really a bright star in the GM role. So the roots that are in place, the support, the investment, and the commitment that Eric has right now as our owner is greater than it's ever been. And all those things, aren't going to be in the media. They're not going to be seen on a daily basis, but we're feeling them. And where we are now compared to when I got here, the roots are so much stronger. And so we've got to be patient. Never easy for fan bases. Never easy for us. I'm a builder and build a lot of programs, but I'm not used to losing either. And so. We're going to get there, though, and I'm proud of the work behind the scenes that isn't as seen as much on what's going on. It's going to pay off. I can't tell you when. I understand that. I can have honest talk, but, really doing good things behind the scenes.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
We're back. We just heard some powerful things. Coach had a lot of great things to say. I'm happy that his mental was right.
Yeah.
This is new for him. He's adjusting to losing the way that this team is, but it's always about the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like him and GM Reagan they understand.
Yeah.
And they're working together for this. But we spoke about Azare. She said, hey, this Breeze Jones matchup is something I knew I can attack. I had to be aggressive. It led to 10 points, 17 rebounds. What made her performance so special tonight?
I think it was just that aggressiveness. Like, when you go up against matchups, again, she's also from UConn. So, she playing her alma mater's home state in that.
The Husky takeover tonight.
Right, seriously, her and Crystal Dangerfield. So I think when you get excited about those matchups, you play better. Yeah. Again, we talk about the Sparks always winning against better teams. We beat the New York Liberty this year. We beat the Aces twice this year.
Yes.
So that's two of the top two teams, not from just this year, but from last year as well, that we found a way to beat. And they had a lot of their existing players. Mm-hmm. So you can't really be mad because our pieces aren't the same as they were at the beginning of the season. They aren't the same as they were last season. So we're rolling with the punches as much as possible, but I love the fact that Coach talked about growing some stronger roots.
Yeah, and, he was deep into his positive speech bag and telling us that he's doing okay and he's not breaking down. He's like, it's about the roots first, and then it's going to sprout into a nice, beautiful tree. So that's what the hope is here for you Sparks fans. I know it. That's what we're hopeful for. Mm-hmm. We think it's going to happen, but it's going to take a day at a time, game at a time, off season at a time. But hey, we got to talk about this game. We can't leave it without giving our players of the game. And I guess we probably got it the same, so I'm going to start it off. It's Azare Stevens. Boom. 10 points, 17 rebounds. She was very aggressive. Mm-hmm. She was able to get up 13 shots. She was taking any opportunity that she can. In a game with so many negatives, she did some positive things. So shout out to Z. Who you got?
Azare Stevens. And you know what I love so much about her saying that she was being aggressive?
Yeah.
She didn't even look aggressive. I would hate to see if she really went aggressive on it.
Nah, you will never see that.
Man, she might have 30 boards. But again, I was right at the beginning of the game. Got to call myself, pat myself on the back. Azare did a great job. I knew she was going to pop out today because that first game, she had like a little bit of a silent game. She rebounded really well. And made a name for herself tonight.
She was looking like Angel Reese out there on the board. So shout out to Z. Up next, Nneka Ogwumike and the Seattle Storm.
Skylar Diggins, Jewel Lloyd,
Skylar was at the game already, covered up, scarfed up. Like, I need to see what's going on. But it's going to be a fun game to see Nneka back. It's going to be great times. I hope y'all here because it's always a great time here at the Sparks game. Win or lose because DJ Mofsky sets the pace. So I hope you guys are here. Michael Matthew, DJ Treacy Treats, LA Sparks Weekly. We catch you guys tomorrow.